Welcome, Miss Christina. Thank you for being here today. How are you?
Having me. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Let's kick this off with some inspiration. Tell us, what is your favorite quote?
My favorite quote is only those who dare to fail greatly can ever achieve greatly, which is kind of how I lived my pageant career. And you gotta be willing to go out and put your best foot forward. And if it doesn't work out that year, you have to be okay with it because eventually it's gonna happen for you.
Building on that, tell us a little bit more about yourself and then a little bit about your pageant background too. So, we want to get to know you personally. Who is Christina? Where does she live? What does she do? And then tell us about your pageant background.
Okay, great. Well, I'm from New Jersey. And I started pageants when I was 12 years old. I got a letter in the mail to compete in NAM. And I had never done pageants before. I had no idea what it was going to be about, but me and my mom, she said, definitely do it. I was extremely shy. I didn't have many friends in school because I was just so quiet. And in that one weekend, I completely transformed. My teacher called my mom on Monday and said, "What did you do with Christina over the weekend? Because it's like a completely different kid showed up to class today." And it just helped me break out of my shell, and I realized how much I loved it. I'm still friends with girls that I met at that state pageant to this day, which is so crazy to me. And after that, I competed in NAM every single year. Every August, it was like a big family event. My whole family would come out to watch. And I started branching out with a few other systems. I competed in New Jersey Team USA. 2 years ago, I competed in the Miss Division. A few other different systems, and it always just each and every time it helped me build on my pageant career and get that other experience on stage, which was always so beneficial. And what else? I now live in New York. I graduated college last May. It's a double major in communications with a focus in and now I am working at the New York Post. So I'm hoping to become a reporter, to become a writer, and all that's kind of thanks to NAM too, through the spokesmodel competition. I didn't do it for the first 5 years, and my mom was like, "I think you would really like it," and I was like, "Okay, I'll give it a shot." I love to write about a topic that was important to me and to present it to an audience.
So I know that National American Miss doesn't require a platform, but is there a cause that you ran for, or a certain organization that you volunteer for on a regular basis?
Yeah, definitely. I actually created my own little organization called Reader Achievers, and essentially it kind of stemmed from my love of reading. I go through 4 or 5 books a week, and a lot of my friends, they help me too. We collect and donate books to local schools, local charities, local hospitals, and sometimes we'll hold reading events and go. I know at my local hospital, we'll go there. We'll have ice cream nights, and we'll hand out books, or we'll do a reading and read to all the kids who are there, and they always love it. And it's so nice to be able to provide good quality books, because a lot of especially in the children's hospital, they don't have that much to do. Sometimes they'll have video games or some magazines, but it's always nice to bring a new shipment in of great books that'll help them keep busy. So
I love that. I'm a huge reader myself. Do you have a favorite book? I know that's always a hard question to ask someone who loves to read.
Sure, I'm a huge mystery buff. I read a lot of James Patterson. 9 times out of 10, the books that I'll pick up are all mystery related. But if I had to pick one favorite, it would be the Harry Potter series. I've read each of those books at least 15 times each. I'm actually rereading the 5th one right now. So they never get old for me, no matter how many times I read them.
You know what? I've read every single book in that series except the last book. I read about half of it, and then I stopped reading, and I don't know why. Maybe I didn't want this series to end or something.
Yeah, you gotta read it. It's great.
All right. So tell us about your favorite pageant memory.
My favorite pageant memory, and I've thought a lot about this. Like I said, I started competing in NAM when I was 12 years old, and every August I would always win the most ticket sales, because 45 people from my family would come and they would be there, and it was like a big family event, and we all looked forward to it every year. And winning that state title was something that I had dreamt about, and the day after the state pageant, I would work for that, all year, and it was something that was so exciting for me, and something to really work toward. And in the process, from when I was 12 up until when I won my first state title, I learned so much about myself. I became such a much better public speaker and a better writer, and I had a much better stage presence. And being on that stage when I was 17 years old and finally winning my state title was unlike anything I can even describe, because it was, so many years of hard work paid off, and I'll never forget that night with my family, and it was just one of the best memories I'll ever have. So
I love that too, how pageants kind of bring families together. I always love seeing the dads escorting their daughters on stage, and I love, as a staff member, I used to love to watch the dads and the daughters walk off stage, because they'd always hug and high five, and it was this big moment, and I love that. I'm right there with you.
Definitely.
Can you tell us a story about a specific door that pageantry has opened for you?
Yeah, definitely. Actually, it's really funny. When I was interviewing for the New York Post, my boss said, you have great interview skills. Did you take a course, or how did you do that? And I was like, I competed in pageants since I was 12, and they always put me through an interview process. She was like, well, you were one of the best interviewers that I've ever interviewed. And that was what helped me got my first job. And we all know getting a job today is so, so difficult. And I was applying and sending my resume everywhere, and that was what was able to set me apart. And now I'm working at an organization which is exactly where I want to be, and they're sending me out reporting stories, and I'm running around the city, and it's like exactly what I want to do. And I got this job because of my interview skills, because of NAM. So that's a really great thing.
That is so good to hear, and I just love that. Interviewing is something that I think should be practiced more, and it's not. I mean, even as an adult going into an interview with a company, I feel like most people don't even think about it or practice it. They just show up and expect to know what to say or how to act, and pageants offers that rare opportunity to start practicing at such a young age, and like you said, that puts you over and above all of the other candidates. So great job there. Well, I want to move into the second half of our interview. Now that we've gotten to know you a little bit better, we want to also learn from you. So you have been successful in the pageant world, and we want to be too. So how did you prepare for your pageants?
Well, after every pageant, like I said, I competed at a state level for so many years. After every pageant, the very first thing I would do, I had a notebook, and I would write down every question I could remember that was during the interview process. Every question the judges asked me, if I could remember it, I would write it down. I would go online and I would research different types of interview questions, even, not necessarily pageant interview questions, but even job-related interview questions. And over the course of time, I typed it all up and I made one big book for myself, and it was like my pageant interview book. And when I was in the car with my friends or with my mom or my dad, I would hand my book and be like, okay, ask me random questions, like interview me. And even those like 10 or 15 minutes, just, talking back and forth, that honed my interview skills so much. And by the time, the pageant came around, I was able to answer any type of question because I was able to think on my feet, and it was just such great practice. For the personal introduction, I think that was the area of competition that I always worked on first, because I wanted to have time to memorize it and be able to say it in my sleep if I needed to. And every day I would at least spend, 15 to 20 minutes a day with my hairbrush in the mirror in my bathroom and reciting my personal introduction. And if I couldn't find a mirror, I would just, before I would go to bed, I would say it to myself in my head, because I wanted to be able to say it on stage without even having to think about what came next. And because when you're up there and the lights are on you and your hair and makeup's done, and you see my mom in the audience who waves like a maniac to me every single pageant, I wanted to be able to have it memorized in my head. So that was one of the things that I always did. And for formal wear, one thing that was so, so important to me was finding shoes that were so comfortable to walk in. And everyone's like, oh, I used to buy like the prettiest shoes. And I'd be like, all right, they're uncomfortable, but only going to be in it for like 30 seconds. So, it doesn't matter. But you forget that you're in those shoes, from when you leave your hotel room, waiting in line, you're on stage, and then afterwards, I wanted to have shoes where I could walk seamlessly and walk comfortably. And since your dress may be long, I know my dress at competition was long. No one's really even going to see your shoes anyway. The shoes I picked were extremely plain, so I rhinestoned them myself to try to match like the bling on my dress a little bit. So those were the things that I did to prepare. And it was a lot of just consistency. I did my personal instruction, like I said, every day. I practiced interview all the time. So that's what helped me the most, and being organized and doing things in a timely manner so that I got everything done way before the due date, and I wasn't stressed when it came time to leave for the pageant week.
Lots and lots of good tips there, especially about the shoes. I think that's very important, something a lot of people overlook. Do you think there's one specific habit that you would attribute your success to?
I would say my habit is when it comes time to pageant weekend or getting ready for the pageant. Like I said, it's just a lot of consistency, and I work in my pageant almost to-do list as like a part of my day. I wake up, I have breakfast, and then I say my personal introduction, and then I get done with school, and then I, do a couple of interview questions in between, my break. And working it into my daily routine really helped me, and making it a habit to do it every day. That's what helped me the most, and being organized. And I make a lot of lists, a lot of to-do lists when it comes to pageant week, and that keeping myself organized is also like super important. And I think that's truly what helped me do well and come home with the title for this past national week.
Staying organized and focused and being able to practice on a daily basis, very important stuff. Do you remember what the hardest question you were asked during interview at nationals was?
Yes. It's so funny because, like I said, I practiced a lot of interview questions. And the question that I found to be the hardest was one of the simplest questions I was asked in the history of competing in pageants. What makes you laugh? What makes you blush? Those two questions, I'm like, wait, what makes me laugh? Like, knowing myself, so many things make me laugh. But being asked that on the drop of a hat, you're like, oh, wait, I don't know what makes me blush. Wait, what makes me embarrassed? Those simple questions always trip me up a little bit. So.
Yes, it is. It's the simple ones that always get you. You practice for the hard ones, and then they throw something simple at you, and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So other than the typical be yourself, what is the best pageant advice that you can offer girls?
The best pageant advice I could offer girls is honestly to have fun and to not be so worried about the outcome and to live in the moment. Because I remember when I went to nationals this past year, it was my last time ever to be able to compete for NAM. I was going to age out, and I've always had a dream of bringing home a national title. So I was so stressed leading up to the week and anxious and nervous. And my mom was like, who cares? Let it go. If you're going to have fun, the judges are going to see that. They're going to see how fun you're having, and the smile on your face is going to be genuine. It's not going to be stressed. So you kind of have to live and let live and let the chips fall where they may, and you're going to do well, and you're going to, at the same time, have fun, and it's going to work out. So
that's a good message to apply anytime in life. If you prepare and you do everything that you can do leading up to that point, then you just got to let go and let fate run its course and just live in the moment. That is such great advice. Great advice. So,
especially with nationals, there's so much fun stuff that you can do. Disneyland, the Hollywood tour, it's hard not to have fun at NAM Nationals.
Yeah, you really have to try not to have fun there, that's for sure. So, Christina, where can we connect with you? Do you have a website? Are you on Instagram? Where can we connect with you?
Definitely. I'm on Instagram. My Instagram name is Christina Monello. Facebook, same thing, Christina Monello, and those are my two main social media outlets. And everyone can always reach me on my email address too, which is ChristinaMonello@yahoo.com.
Perfect. Well, we appreciate you being here with us, letting us get to know you, and imparting your wisdom upon us. We so appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, and it was so good to see you. Thank you so much.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.